Is Herb Jones really going to get traded? Plus, we're going to talk the starting five. We're going to talk Trey Murphy. And, of course, we're going to talk trade targets. Let's get into it.
Took away. That's the best. Get your money's worth.
Presented to you by the Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Pro Pels Talk, located 918 Poitiers Street by the Super Bowl. Give them a call at 504-523-5413 if you or someone you know has been involved in an accident. The Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Pro Pels Talk. Ross, Chaz, and Lito joining tonight live. Appreciate y'all waiting for us. We wanted to finish that Bills game. Per usual, the Bills choke in the playoffs wide right, per usual. Chaz, let's start off with you first.
Okay.
I'm really interested in this. There was a report. Look, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know what's on, like what's a fact, what isn't a fact. But there have been some rumors over the weekend about Herb Jones possibly being on the trade block. What do you make of that?
I think it's probably some information add on some educated guessing. This is because Herb Jones's contract, if you're the Pelicans, they have almost a gluttony of talented wings. And I think the one thing people underestimate or misconstrue is that, other teams are going to want your good players. It's easy to say, hey, just give them this person. It's like, would you accept that from another team? You're going to have to give up something valuable to get something back that you want. Pelicans have backed themselves into a very gloomy salary cap situation where they only have a couple of medium-sized contracts they're able to move off of. To Ross's point, he said several times, if JV is only valuable to a certain number of teams, mainly teams looking to create salary cap space. Add on to that, he's a more so of an antiquated type of big, still really good, antiquated type of big with some defensive deficiencies. And also, again, he's expiring. So the crown jewel of that trade would be Herb Jones. The Cavs are looking for a wing, i.e. Herb Jones.
So, Chaz, that's why I wanted to start with it, because I figured you have a good beat on it, pause. But like, I think that you
could have said good pulse on it.
Good pulse. Hey, whatever. Good pulse. That's fair. That's totally fair, Chaz. I'm always trying to learn every day, trying to get better. Ross, to Chaz's point, we all know Jarrett Allen. We're going to talk about Jarrett Allen a little bit later. Obviously, if Herb Jones were to be moved to Cleveland, we would probably most likely get Jarrett Allen back. Is there a way that Dyson Daniels picks and JV could possibly be a deal instead of giving up Herb Jones, or is that just completely off the table?
You got to take all this stuff with I won't say a grain of salt, because I think Chad just said it best, right? Like, teams do want Herb Jones because he's a good player on a great contract. You also have to remember, a lot of shit gets pushed out through the media that's just noise, right? It's posturing, it's politics, it's all of that stuff, right? So just imagine a scenario where we actually do want Jarrett Allen, and we called Cleveland and we said, hey, we'll give you Dyson and JV. Well, how would you respond if you were Cleveland? I don't want Dyson. I want Herb Jones, right? So you've got to remember that everyone is posturing, and so I don't know how much value Dyson has. I do know that a lot of teams would want Herb Jones, and so I think it's on the table. I think I still lean toward that it doesn't get done, because I'm not sure why. I mean, other than just the blanket assumption of what's his name the long-term Mobley's long-term position as center, played pretty well there in Jarrett Allen's absence earlier this year. I don't think it would be a smart move for Cleveland to trade him yet, but I think in that scenario, this is just politics, posturing to try and get a better deal.
Lito, and I agree with both Chaz and Ross. And I want to hear your thoughts on it, but I was talking with Christian today. Just say you do. First off, I'm going on record saying I don't want to trade Herb Jones for Jarrett Allen. And the reason being is I don't think that if you trade Herb Jones and you get Jarrett Allen, to me, I don't think that makes you that much better. To me, it doesn't, I don't think it
makes you worse.
The bar. Exactly. So Lito, I guess I'm getting to a point where I'm like, well, why would I want to move Herb Jones? And do you think that this franchise would actually move someone like Herb Jones, who, look, drafted in the second round, didn't think that he would become this, frontline starter, all NBA defender. We know like, and then he's also shooting a career high from three this year, 38%. Like, I want to hear your thoughts on, do you actually think Herb Jones is on the trade block? And two, do you think that this franchise, David Griffin, Trajan Langdon, the front office, would actually move someone as popular as Herb Jones?
I mean, I think they'll listen. I think they'll listen to. I think you got, as a front office, right? You kind of got to gauge how good your guys are around the league. Like, you want to gauge other teams' interest in who you have in your locker room. I think if the right deal came along, they possibly would trade him. I don't know what the right deal is. I'm with you. Like, I don't think trading him for Jarrett Allen makes this team better. Especially when you think about losing JV in that deal too, because JV is a guy who doesn't necessarily, while he may not have the ball scoring to be impactful, he still can make an impact. He makes great passes. He's a very high IQ basketball player. I don't know if Jarrett Allen has I don't know if he has the realm of passing in that situation. Like, would you put him in the same spot you put JV in? I do think, though, the Herb trade, or the reasons they stated that they want to trade Herb, I think was misinformation, because they stated salary, and like, he's got a very team friendly deal for the most part, especially for the output that he has. I tell you this though, Justin, looking at the retweets from fans around the league, seeing what they think about Herb, it was like, damn, like, everybody, we missed Herb the first time. And it was like, it was very eye opening. I didn't know.
Interesting.
I didn't realize that. I guess everybody else held him in such high regard too. I think Herb is a championship player. I think Herb is a guy who is a championship player. He will do all the little things. And I think he has, again, we keep saying this, he has more to his game offensively than he's gotten a chance to show. So I don't want to trade Herb though. No, I don't want to trade him.
Go ahead, Chaz. Yeah,
I forgot to mention, I actually spoke with Matt Moore last night. I forgot that.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that back
mention.
and forth. I saw that back and forth with y'all on X or Twitter, or whatever you want to call it. What was the question you asked, Chaz?
I asked him specifically, mainly, is Jarrett Allen even really available? And he was considering that the Cavs have the longest active win streak in basketball right now, and Mobley is still maybe a couple weeks away, maybe a week or so. He was like, from people he's spoken to, he's very much available. And he also noted that the Pelicans would like for it to be Dyson and JV. They don't want to move Herb. But as far as the salary cap implications, he did mention, not to me, but I saw in the thread, he mentioned that he probably could have worded it better. What he was really saying was they're in a position where they kind of got to clear some space because Trey Murphy is due this upcoming offseason, and they won't be able to pay Trey's extension and Brandon's extension moving forward. So he said he could have worded it better. But but it all goes back to the same conclusion. But go ahead.
Well, that's why I was asking, because I'm like, Herb was like 8% of the salary cap. So I was like,
here's the thing. I want to get this. Like, Herb's not the problem. Okay, I'll tell you that much right now. Like, Herb is not the problem, and we're about to get in the starting five. And there's a couple things, because Chaz, you're really good at this. Like, a perfect segue into Trey Murphy. But I see a couple of comments. So I starred these two guys. I will get to them in their starred, so I'll get to them later in the show. But we gotta get to Trey Murphy. Ross, I'm gonna start with you first. There's been some tweets and just some bullshit on the internet over the weekend that just kind of pissed me off about Trey Murphy. Look, his first 7 games, he was like, 50, 40, 90, whatever. And then he's hit a slump. Okay. He's not shooting the ball very well. He's taking some bad shots. He's missing some whatever. He's struggling. First off, 19 games. He's played 19 games this year. Second off, he had a knee surgery in September. I don't think people, and Leo, you can attest to this, I don't think people realize when you have surgery on your knee, it takes a while to get back into rhythm. It takes a while to get trust. Like there's a mental block up there. Okay. Like people need to also realize that. Not to mention, and shout out to Retro Pels, who I totally forgot. Marcus Smart dove into this dude's knee a couple weeks ago, and he had to miss 3 or 4 games with knee soreness. So he gets no ramp up time because he misses training camp. He gets no real practice time because I'm telling you right now, you don't practice very much in the regular season. You don't get much run. Like it takes time, especially for a guy like Trey Murphy, to one, get acclimated to the new system of James Borrego. He hasn't really played much with Zion Williamson. Like it takes some time. It's 19 games in, he's shooting 38% from deep, and people are like, Trey Murphy is awful. Ross, what are you seeing from Trey?
Well, I think you just said it. And I see a guy that's I don't want to say he looks uncomfortable, because we've certainly seen moments, even in these 17 or 18 or how many games he's played, where you see some glimpses of where he was last year, right? I think about that putback in the Golden State game early, some of the more athletic plays that he was making. Look, Trey was incredible after the All-Star break last year. He was really, really good. I think, expectations are a bitch. And so I think people expected him to build off that. But yeah, look, he didn't get to play in the preseason. You got an unfortunate injury at the very end of the offseason, right? You got to have surgery. You've said it all. I'm not worried about Trey Murphy from a will he recover perspective. He's still a really good shooter and all that stuff. There are some basketball related things that I would like to see him continue to improve on. Some off the dribble stuff, moving without the ball, a little bit defensive instincts, but otherwise I'm not that worried about Trey Murphy. I think my questions about Trey Murphy are, we have a very short amount of time to answer what that extension looks like. And it's got a lot of there's a lot of ramifications to what that number is, right? I mean, you've seen, Chris Connors talked about it a few times, and it's like the obvious baseline is the Devin Vassell deal, but I need to see a little more out of Trey, I think, before I would be willing to pony up that type of max extension today, because it's really going to tighten up what you can do around the roster, right? Because you have to start asking yourself, well, is Zion, CJ, Herb, and Trey a champion? The obvious answer for me to that is no. But you've got to start to think about some of those things if you're going to offer Trey Murphy a max extension here in a couple of months. And so, but I'm not worried about the basketball side of it, to answer your question.
No, because, and then I'm about to get to you in a second here. The run you're talking about last year after the All-Star break, Ross, he shot 46% from deep, averaged 19 points a game, shot 94% from the free throw line, and 50% from the field.
Yeah, and you started to see some defensive stuff, some chase, some help side blocks. I felt like you could see him grow a little bit. He was unbelievable after the All-Star break last year.
That was 40 games in. That was 40 games into last year when he went off. It takes some time. So Lito, go ahead.
Before he came before the season started, once we heard about the news, my whole thing was I just wanted Trey to take his time coming back. I didn't want him to rush coming back. I didn't want him to think that he had to jump out of there because the guys were missing him or they weren't playing well, and he felt the weight of that on his shoulders. I think that I'm not worried about Trey. Listen, man, once your knee gets surgery, it changes you. Once you get operated on, it changes you. It takes time to trust that you can land on it, or you can make those cuts. You can play hard. It changes everything about your game, and it makes you question what you can do in real time. And the thing is, physical therapy is totally different from game action. So while you might feel good about what you're doing in therapy, once you get on the court, it's still I'm not so sure. And I think you see that. And then shout out to Retro Pels, not to mention getting your knee dove into by Marcus Smart. I'm sure that didn't make him feel great, because I think he missed how many games did he miss?
He missed off of the knee soreness.
Yeah, how
3 or
many games
4.
did he miss?
It's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, man. So like my for real, if we being honest, my only real gripe about Trey, for real, is just like defensive consistency. And it's not even so much the I want to say the effort, it's just knowing what it be. That's really all. And then the other thing too, I'm not a fan of the deep threes. I think for him being 6'10, 6'9, 6'10, I think you kind of play into the defense's hands, even though he can make them, right? You play into the defense, you kind of giving them what they want when you're taking a shot so far, because by him being so tall, he can generally shoot over who's ever guarding him on the perimeter. So you come closer, you know what I'm saying, to the rest of the action. And shout out to Florida, rebounding too, definitely rebounding. I think those are the three things, and better shot selection. And I don't mind those. I don't mind them if you hot, but like if you ain't make nothing yet, you know what I'm saying? Like go get a layup first and then try to do that. I don't really like the deep threes.
I mean, and also later, like when he's attacking 90% free throw shooter. I mean, he's in, gets the line. Chaz, what are you seeing from Trey? 19 games in.
I really don't take too much away from it, honestly, just because I feel like once the injury happened, it kind of threw away all like high expectation for me. I'm projecting more so his ceiling. I will also say I feel like this dude has probably had the unluckiest first 3 years that some players have ever had to really deal with, especially you got injury and the huge cloud over Trey Murphy is playing under Willie Green. Like that's like the huge cloud. I also think when you compare him to Jordan Hawkins' ascension, it's a bit different because they're two different types of player. Hawkins immediately got that opportunity playing with the starters. You look at where Trey is playing, he's not really playing necessarily in favorable, lineup situations and things of that nature. But to the negative, rebounding absolutely has to improve. Defense has to improve. Those are things we kind of knew. Also, I'm also not a fan of the deep threes. I think at 6'10, you gotta take those contested jumpers, man. I do like the attempts to create more off ball, but I do also think that if some people may be rushing the process because it is his first like couple months back from injury, and this was a ever developing player. This was a guy who was developing. The last time we saw him play, he played well. Then he gets hurt. Now, I always say don't presume that a guy is starting back from where you last saw him. Some things he's going to have to relearn. Some bad habits he's going to have to shake as he gets more and more adjusted and familiar with what's going on and the rounds being live. So I'm not worried about him at all. I still think he has the second highest ceiling on his team. No concern whatsoever.
Yeah. Clap. I see your comments in the chat, and I've started a couple of them, so I'll get to those questions. Ross, because Chaz brings up a really good point. Lineups that Trey's playing with, and we talk about this. The first sub every time is Trey for Zion. We all know the best pairing. The best pairing for Trey Murphy is Zion Williamson and Jordan Hawkins. If you see those three on the court at the same time, I think you see a way more efficient Trey Murphy, a way more comfortable Trey Murphy, and a guy, because like to y'all's like Lito, like I kind of disagree because I've seen more pump fake dribbles to the rim from Trey Murphy this year. I really have. I think he's made a kind of a point of emphasis on it. Now I haven't seen it consistently enough, but I see glimpses of it. Ross, when he's playing with those lineups, it's a lot different when he's playing lineups with Dyson Daniels and Najee Marshall and Jose Alvarado. Would you like to see more of those lineups? Obviously, I know your answer, but why?
Yeah, well, no, just to piggyback, that this isn't something that like we're not making this up, right? Like Trey Murphy's top 2 most used lineups I'm looking at right here. I mean, basically he's played all of overwhelming majority of his minutes have been with the starting lineup minus Zion. So Brandon, CJ, Herb, Trey, and JD. He's played with that group 4 times more than any other lineup. Like, so a significant, like basically all of his time. Yeah, you'd certainly like to see him out there with Zion more. I don't understand. I mean, look, I understand it for, I guess, a little bit of a reason. I don't think the team is comfortable playing Zion at the 5. and you've got Brandon, and you've got Herb, and you've got Hawkins, and you've got all these other guys on the wing. And so I get it. It's sort of an elementary way to address lineup construction, in my opinion. But that's how they're looking at it. And that's on the coaching staff. They've got to find a better way. They got to find a way to get Trey out there with Zion more often.
6 minutes.
It's
the Zion 6 minute mark sub's got to stop. It's got to stop. Devin Booker played 16 straight minutes the other night. He played 16 straight minutes.
It's got to stop. We're really hamstringing the team's growth. And Chaz mentioned it a second ago. I think Trey's had a lot to overcome. And some of that has been self-inflicted by the organization, in my opinion. You're not playing him because he doesn't play defense, this, that, and the other. I mean, Justin, you remember this 2 years ago when people are begging for him to play in the play-in game or playoff series, begging for him while we're running Tony Snell out there. So it's like, it's like we've put hurdles in front of this guy. And then last year, everybody's hurt, and I thought he had a really good season. Now he's coming in unhealthy. But yeah, look, this year there's not really a great excuse, or at least in these 17 games, I don't think we've done a good enough job of getting him in optimal situations.
And we talk about it all the time. There's no sets made up for him. You see sets for Hawkins all the time.
And that's part of the reason I think you see a lot of those deep threes that we all hate. To me, the deep,
because he has to shoot it. Chaz alludes to this all the time. It's like because he has to shoot it because he knows he ain't gonna get the ball.
Exactly. And so it's one of those things where you go up and down the court, you don't touch the ball, or there's nothing drawn up for you. And so, finally get to a point where it's like, fuck it, man, I'm three steps behind, but this thing's going up. I mean, I'm with you. For me, those are like the Ingram fall away mid-range shots. Like, Trey, we can get that at any point. But if you're just not touching the ball, at some point I might hoist one up too.
There's two players that if they pass the ball, they never touch it again. It's Zion.
Yep.
It's Zion and Trey. But once they pass the ball, it's over. Like, they're not touching the ball. Like, get it. It's over. We're
going to talk about the corner of Zion stuff too. Go ahead, Lita. I know you want to say something.
I just wanted to add on to Ross's point about the Trey lineups. The wild thing is this lineup has only played 13 minutes together. Hawkins, Najee, CJ, Trey, and Jonas. They're plus 59 in points. And they're shooting 55% from three. And the crazy thing is they have one of the highest rebound percentages on the team. But again, it's only.
Would you say, because you're most likely going to stagger Brandon and Zion at all times, right? So I wonder when you saw that lineup.
And I'll go one further, not to cut you off there, Lito, but I mean, if you just look at 2-man combinations, Trey's highest net rating is with the person that he's played the fewest minutes with on the entire roster, Jordan Hawkins. He's played with everybody else more minutes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lito, let's get to the next segment. Before we get that, make sure you smash the like button. Lito, this was said at practice today.
We're not guarding the first 5 minutes of the game. They know it. I've told them. I've talked to them about it. We can score. That unit has shown the ability to score, but we have to do a better job defensively. So, it's something that we just got to continue to work on. We even have to be open to mixing up some of the starting lineup and matchups and what have you, and see what we get. But we have enough data on it now to know that it's an issue and we're working on it.
Do you feel like this?
Lito,
why you do this to me?
You're my guy, bro.
Every time you do this. What's your question?
All right, so we're talking about the starting five. I guess one, why do you think it hasn't been working of late? And two, what adjustments would you like to see? I can't take Chaz seriously.
Well, first of all, y'all just went on. Y'all just talked about. Y'all just had a lengthy discussion about Zion coming out at 6 minutes. So I feel like he knows at this point when there is
this could be bad.
When the 3 minute mark comes in the game, like and you've seen this regardless if Zion has a rhythm, he could have scored 7 straight. And they'll be like, nah, come on. So I think that needs to for one, that needs to change. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one. For two, you asking me who should they inject in the start lineup?
Yeah, who would you if you're gonna make an adjustment? So Willie Green talked about today, like we have to look at it if we're gonna make changes. We have to be comfortable doing that. Who would you want to see? I guess. I mean, I know the answer, but
Yeah, you know the answer.
we'll say it.
Yeah, I want Trey. I want Trey. I would want Trey in the start. I'm cool with even throwing a caveat of putting Hawkins in the starting lineup.
Ooh.
Like I'm cool with like switching it up. Like it don't have to be black and white.
For who?
I would say probably Herb.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's not Herb's fault. It's not Herb's fault because your two best players don't shoot threes. That's why Herb's getting penalized.
Hey, well, your head coach just sat there and talked about how that first group doesn't guard. And that's all he talked about. We don't guard. That first group's not guarding. We know we can score, but we don't guard.
That's a good point, Ross.
So I'm not saying I agree with him. I'm just saying before you get your hopes up, that's what your head coach just said. So
no, that's true because when you put it like that, it's like, damn, fuck what I just said because it don't even matter. Like he's never gonna start. He's never gonna start. Justin has this thing where what did you say a couple games ago? He's never not gonna play again. I'm still just not so sure.
You talking about who?
You know who?
My guy.
Yeah. He
looked good today, Ross. Oh boy, he was going full court, pull it. Oh, he looked good. Chaz, go ahead.
My uncle used to I had an uncle. My uncle, his uncle, my uncle Johnny, he's in Angola right now. He used to say, I don't like when people smiling at me all the time. I don't fix teeth, motherfucker. I knock them out. That's what he used to say. That's why he's in Angola, right? Willie Green, what the fuck is you laughing about? What is all this smiling? Like, who said something funny here, you incompetent fuck? Who said something funny here, asshole?
What would you want to see, I guess? What would you want to say?
Clearly, it's offense. The problem is clearly you're having trouble generating easy looks for your offense, right? That's clearly the fucking issue. That's clearly the issue here. You have a cool middle of the pack defense. You need to generate your strength lies in offense. No matter what you do, you're never going to be incredible enough defensively to offset some of your struggles offensively. What the fuck are we talking about here? And he answered the question like, I bet you didn't think I knew that one. Like this asshole.
So would you say Trey? Asshole. So do you think Trey's the answer then?
I think Trey is the answer to a degree. I think he helps, but he doesn't fix the situation. He helps, but he doesn't fix the situation. Also, not to mention, okay, if let's say defense is your issue starting the game, so that means offense is your issue closing the game, right? Like, so what? It's everything is the offense. Your offense it's the offense across the board. So JV's been pretty solid defensively this year. He's not like some fucking train wreck out there defensively. So you talking about, we might think about the lineup. Man, stop playing here. You're not putting old brittle ass Larry in no fucking starting lineup, and that shit gonna work more than 2 weeks. Stop playing like you got all these options. Like you got this plethora of fucking options you can go to. Like, I'm gonna start Cody Zeller. Like, let's knock it off here, right? The only option is realistically you're gonna start Trey Murphy, which you probably should have done some time ago because you've had these offensive issues this entire time. I think because they got embarrassed by Booker, he thought that, what I need to do is go back to starting Dyson and Herb. Then I'll really throw him for a loop. Like, man, this knock it off. Just knock it off. The fuck are you talking about? Knock it off.
Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead.
Look, I really agree. To me, of everything he said, I mean, I thought the defensive thing was predictable, all this other stuff. When he starts talking about we need to look at adjusting lineups or this, that, or the other, I think that's the opposite of what needs to happen. Like, I want Willie Green to have as little control over who starts and who plays as possible because I've seen who plays when he's in charge. like his hand has to be forced to play certain guys, right? Jordan Hawkins was getting DNPs not long ago. So the same thing happened with Trey. We just talked about Trey Murphy couldn't get minutes over Tony Snell. Like I know the type of player that Willie Green values. I don't value that player the same way that he does. So that to me is concerning because Chaz says it in jest. I don't know what he like. It wouldn't blow. Like I would in no way would I be blown away if the next time we played the Suns, he did do some crazy shit like start Dyson Daniels. Like you just, I don't know what this guy will do because I know the type of player that he wants to play. He wants to give certain guys minutes, and those are the opposite guys that I think should be getting minutes.
Go ahead.
I just want to add on to that. Like, Justin, me and you were having a conversation about coaching and habits, and habits create like contention because there's certain things you feel like you got to fall back on at a certain point. Appreciate you, Joe. Appreciate all y'all in the super chats.
Appreciate everybody, man.
I don't mean to cut you off, Lito, but I got a couple emails about some guys are always in the chat, so I got some t-shirts coming out. So a lot of you guys, I see David O'Connor, Chung, make sure you hit me up. Donald, I don't know how to pronounce this, but you're always here as well. So make sure y'all email me or DM me on Twitter, and I'll get some merch out to you. Go ahead, Lito.
No, but you playing. You got a coach in Willie Green who made his stayed in the league a long time by doing a certain thing, playing a specific way. He wasn't a gifted offensive player, so what he knows is defense. And I totally understand it. And shout out to Coach Mike because we had this conversation the other day. I said this on Chris's show. Your philosophy has to evolve. It has to change. You can't play 2010 basketball in 2024. You cannot do it. The metrics have all changed. The way these shots that Trey takes, right? When Willie was playing, that would have got you benched. You could never do that. You could never shoot those shots. The amount of threes that CJ is taking right now, you could never do that when Willie Green was playing. And I think, and shout out to him, I guess, for picking a guy in Borrego who has the ability to implement those changes. I just wish he listened to him more. I wish he let him. Ross said he doesn't want Willie Green to mess with the lineups. I love to see Borrego mess with the lineups. Appreciate you, Jeremiah. I love to see Borrego have some sort of say over that, and maybe the rotations too, right? Like the minute wise. Like I think that he would have. I think he would have a pulse on what was happening or what needed to happen, and I wish we weren't so strict on again these 6 minutes. Here you go, and then you put him in. You put Zion back in. Matter of factly, you put him back in with 1:30 left before half, which. I don't really understand what's the point of doing that, because if you're worried about his hamstrings, you kind of killing him.
I'm glad y'all are bringing this up because the sub packages are they're interesting to me. Look, Zion being taken out the 6 minute mark has got to stop. It just has to stop. Every time he goes out, it doesn't matter. We start losing lead. Yes, I know he needs rest, but he starts coming out at like major points, like fourth quarter. He's coming out at the 8 minute mark. I'm like, sit him like to begin the fourth and then let him close. But like too many times I've seen we're up 6. Like the perfect example is Dallas. We're up 7, whatever it is. He goes out, you lose the lead. He comes back in with 4 minutes left. It's over. I've seen him a couple times where he's at the table and there's 4 minutes left in the game and he can't even get in the game because there's no dead ball. So like you're just losing more and more minutes. There's got to be, Ross, like there's just got to be. Am I going crazy here? Like,
no.
Am I like for real? Like, I don't think I'm going too crazy here, but like, and look, they're a good team. They have a good record. Like, there's still things that can change here. And I think that the sub packages, because Brandon plays Brandon plays the first 10 minutes, then Zion comes in at the 2 minute mark, then the quarter ends, then he goes out for the first 4 minutes, and he's back out again. What would you like to see, I guess, change there?
Well, those two things for sure. And especially that fourth quarter one drives me nuts because sometimes it's not 8 minutes. Sometimes he'll come out at like the 6 minute mark, and it's almost like he's supposed to come out for, I'm assuming, for a minute or two, and then go back in. But to your point, it's like he ends up coming back in with like 2 and a little over 2. His fourth quarter, Zion's usage in the fourth quarter makes no sense. Period. But the concern for me with the first quarter one is you miss the opportunity to inflict damage, right? Like you saw what Phoenix did. And it's the same thing we've said about 500 times. When you got somebody that's cooking, take whatever your rotation package is. I don't know if that's like page 2 or 3 or 4 of your binder.
Page 1.
Page 1. I want you to take that page, walk it to the end of the bench, hand it to EJ Liddell, and let EJ Liddell go piss on it in the back. Get rid of it. Just get the fucking thing out of there. And they won't do that. There's been a continued reluctance to just go away from that part of the game plan when you've got something. Because what you can do is sometimes you take that 6-point lead to 16. And now you got
the Suns did,
and that's it, right? And then the game, and then now you're playing from a position of power the rest of the game. You can rest guys at other points when they're started. It seems like we refuse to take that. Like the other team's giving it to you, just take it. Just take it.
Lito, it looks like everybody.
I mean, dog.
I hate that I can't see Chaz's eyes. Like that's a really good poker sunglasses right there, Chaz.
How do I follow EJ Liddell pissing on the rotation sheet?
Is it a good time for a commercial?
I mean, EJ's not doing anything else.
Hey Ross, do you want to address this? Oh, it's blurry. Damn, it's really blurry. Sorry about that, Law. People calling you Beans. This is what Beans looks like now. That's
fucked
crazy.
up. That's fucked up. I really, look, I find humor in it. Just because I think shit's funny, but it's a little bit disrespectful if we're being honest with each other. It's just a little bit disrespectful, man. That guy there, whatever. Maybe I need to look in the mirror. I don't know.
No, wait, put that picture back up.
Nah, don't pull that shit back.
The part is, Lala told me it was going to be really blurry. I'm like, nah, it'll be totally fine because Ross sent to me, and this is brutal, man.
Bro,
this is brutal.
Is he okay?
Who, Beans?
I'm not sure. That's why I tell you it's kind of. I don't know. I mean, I don't know Beans like that.
I think it's David that called you first. And David's just kidding. He's just letting you have it here. I guess we'll lead on Chaz. If we're going to adjust the rotations, the first say 6 or 8 minutes, what would you like to say?
I'm gonna say this, Willie, if I may be so familiar, Mr. Green, if I may not. It's time for you to get the fuck up out of here. It really is. It's time, bro.
Wait, hold up, Chaz. Hold up.
Yeah.
Stay with me here.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I had a moment of like realism for a second. There's like, it doesn't matter like what we say. But truthfully speaking, look, Mike Malone said something today. He was like, I give Jokic the first possession to see how other teams are gonna guard him. And, he kind of caters his offense around that. And you hear AD and Joel say all the time, oh, what Zion is doing, he's downloading information, seeing how defenses are going to guard him, and he's going to adjust to that. Once he figures it out, motherfucker, you don't give the opposing team a second to readjust by taking him out of the game, because then you've lost any advantage you may have had with him figuring it out. So if he's hot, let him run. How do you expect him to get in better shape? How do you expect him to take his game to the next level? Right?
Do you think it could possibly be a limit? Do you possibly think it'd be like he can't play more than 6 minutes?
They could potentially be playing a long game, but see, even things like that, they have to be this context. There's minutes defined to rest him. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's minutes defined to do other things. Why don't you just alternate? Just alternate what he's doing with Brandon. Like just alternate those things. You can find about the equal amount of rest. You can play him with Trey Murphy. You have to be able to adjust on the fly, because it's not like what you're doing is working. It's not like this is some exemplary shit that's happening. The starting unit is a net negative. And it's not because there's a bunch of defensive albatrosses out there. It's because you can't generate enough offense from your star players. That's what this is happening. Like, that's what it's all about. The stars aren't looking like stars. I will say that for a later conversation about the Monte Ellis David Lee thing, because I've made that David Lee comparison a lot. But truthfully, it's like, bro, I don't care what Willie Green wants. I don't care what David Griffin wants. It has to be this dude. It has to be him. You don't have no other options. I watched that Suns game again last night. This motherfucker, he's not on like a tear or anything, but he's getting to the rim, doing this thing. He's matching the intensity, matching the action, matching the offensive output to a degree. As much as you could do it trading shots at the rim for 3-pointers. You take him out the game. Then by the time he's inserted back into the game, you're down by like 16 points. The game is essentially over because you'll never really be able to catch up with them. So you just punted the game.
After the corner three, he had a corner three and a lob, and like 2 out of 4 possessions there. Nice little run. Yeah.
Because the other thing, Justin, the other thing that it does when we take him out, or if you don't take him out, is it demoralizes the other team or demoralizes your team. I think or the fan base to a certain extent, right? Like I don't traditionally listen to the radio broadcast when I was driving for the Suns game, so I did.
Shout out Graf, though.
Yeah, shout out. But the one thing you could hear in their voices, him and DeShazer, is that when Devin Booker came back, I think there was a timeout at the 10-minute mark, and they were or a dead ball or a TV time, whatever it was, and they were expecting him to come out, and he came back in, and even Graf and the radio guy and DeShazer were like, "Oh man," and Booker's coming back out, and then when he came back out for the second quarter, it was even worse. They were like, "Oh, and Booker's coming, dang, Booker's coming back out." You don't think our team is doing the same thing? This dude that just lit you up for 25 in the first quarter, his ass just came back out like, yeah, I got a whole nother serving. We don't give ourselves a chance to do that with Zion. And I think in some ways, especially in a home game, like you just demoralized our own team because the one dude that was again trading, punch for punch, we got him off. So you won't think their team that's a breath of life for your opponent, and it's a punch in the gut for your own team.
Let's
I got it.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna go to DraftKings. You want to go real quick?
It's on you. They pay us, so
let's go over DraftKings. Stay with us for about a minute. We're gonna take a minute break and we'll get to lead up. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BOOT. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expired 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Also, shout out Company Burger located at 4600 Ferret Street. Lito, go ahead.
shout out to Lil Moose too.
What'd you just say?
Shout out to Live Moods. I'll put the picture in the chat if you need to know what I'm talking about.
I texted you back. I'm gonna get the picture up. I know, but go ahead.
No. I was talking about Live. But
okay.
Listen, I got a question for y'all. With two max players, one the NBA considers a superstar, the other one a very good player. I want to know, why do y'all think the Pelicans, instead of relying on them, seems like the Pelicans rely on their role players?
I never thought of it like that.
How do you mean, Lito?
Well, for instance, go ahead, Justin. Sound like you was about to.
Well, I think you think that is CJ a role player? I guess CJ's a role player, huh?
I wouldn't say he's a role. Well, yeah, I mean the third best player on the team.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like they, for instance, I feel like they try to maximize their role players, but not their stars. Like, for instance, once again, you think Zion Williamson, you think Zion and shooting, and then just figure out defensively. You rarely see that, right? Even with Brandon, like you put Herb and Dyson around Brandon. That doesn't make sense. Like Brandon can't do anything with Herb and Dyson on the floor. And you consistently see this lineup. You can't do it. You got to surround your best players with shooters. It's really simple. And the funny part is this franchise hasn't really had many great shooters, right? You think like Peja, like Marcus Thornton, like think of like all the, like, was James Posey like a really good shooter for this franchise? Like
Hell
you think
no.
Peja. Who other good shooters can you think about? Like Drew
Anthony
Holiday was a
Morrow.
great shooter.
Hey,
Who was
Morrow,
doing with jokes
Okay,
about
Anthony
4 days ago,
Morrow,
Chaz?
Ryan Anderson.
Ryan Anderson.
Ryan
actually was very
Anderson,
good.
Nico
Darius
Mirotic,
Miller.
but not,
Darius
but
Miller.
guys, now you have like
Darius Miller.
legit shooters like Darius
Well,
Miller. Yeah, we were like Darius Miller's our spacer. You got Jordan Hawkins, Trey Murphy, CJ McCollum. Like these are sharp shooters. They should be on the floor with your best players.
Can I say this? I don't think this team, front office and coaching staff, really wants or really has a. I don't think they're a star team or a star front office or coaching staff. I think this coaching staff and front office would do well with a team like the Wizards. Like, I don't think they know much about like taking a star player to the next level and maximizing what he's good at or winning at that highest level. I think this is more of like a transitional, not what they are literally, but I think this is how they kind of their skill sets. They're like a transitional front office, transitional coaching staff, because there's no way you could be gifted as much high caliber talent as you've had, and you just like you don't even attempt to know which it's not like you try some shit, it didn't work out, and then you go to something else. It's like, no, you're not even trying. It doesn't matter how much the blueprint is out there, how much the national analysts say it's just you're not doing it. And it's almost like they would rather have a bunch of C students than an A+ student. Like it's really like the vibe you get and like the aura around this team. And like today, David Griffin, he said Herb Jones is their alpha, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. That's cool. Nothing's wrong with saying that necessarily, but it's like, well, you didn't have to say that. You didn't have to say that, because if you telling me Herb Jones is their alpha, the fuck I'm paying this other non-star dude $30+ million for? The fuck am I paying CJ $30+ million? Why am I doing this? Like, if you've already crowned the 11 million dude the alpha, like why do I need all these other high-powered people? I just need Zion and Herb, I guess. Zion and Herb, and I'll fill out the rest of the roster with a bunch of other betas and whoever, because I got my alpha in Herb Jones. Like, Herb Jones is a great player. Herb Jones is probably never going to be an all-star. He's going to be an all-defensive player. He's probably never going to be an all-NBA player. Like, you're putting this on a third-year guy. You have to treat stars like stars and demand more from these motherfuckers. And you got to.
And what's crazy?
Go ahead,
Chaz. What's crazy is like all throughout the timeline, you'll see like, oh, Trey Murphy lost us the game tonight. CJ McCollum lost us the game tonight. You know, Herb Jones went 0 for 6. Like no.
This is why I asked the question, because I see a lot of that. I see a lot of that after games. Like CJ would have made like 7 threes or some shit, and he might have not made none in the fourth, and they'll be like, man, he sold out. Like, bro, I did my part. It's on X and Y. That's why I'm asking, like, why are the Pelicans so reliant upon role players and they don't put the onus on B.I. and Zion?
Rarely. Very rarely. I'm interested. I had to start this comment. I don't know what this is, but from Rick. I didn't see Griff saying the online guys lineups today, but Rick, if you want to drop a comment and kind of clear up that, I don't know. I don't know what he said. So Rick, I'm actually interested. I know they had a season ticket holder event today. It looked pretty cool, but Rick, if you could kind of clear that up for us, let us know. Let's get to the last segment. Wait, hold up. I gotta see this one. Postseason was more. I mean, yeah, I know. I don't. Okay. Obviously. Let's get in the last segment. We'll start with Chaz. So we talked about Jarrett Allen.
Right.
Christian Clark came out with an article today. I cannot for my life pronounce the Atlanta Hawks backup center. What is his last name?
Okongwu.
Okay, him, Jarrett Allen, and who was the third one? Oh, your boy from Orlando, Wendell Carter. Those three targets, Chaz. What would it take, in your opinion? What would it take? Let's start off with just Jarrett Allen. What do you think is an actual trade package to land Jarrett Allen?
To be short, I think you're either doing JV, Dyson, and 2 first, and maybe a swap, or JV, Herb, and 1 first. But I'm gonna let you guys answer, and then I'll answer, and I'll go more into detail in the end. But that's for Jarrett Allen. For Wendell Carter Jr., I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever unless you're moving Larry in that deal, because you're basically trading for super Larry. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting JV's replacement. You might be getting his eventual replacement, but you're not getting JV's replacement. He has a rough injury history, and the idea of Wendell Carter Jr. is better than the player at this juncture. Okay, he's nice. Like he's pretty good. Long-term contract. It would be interesting. I think that's another situation to where JV probably works in there because they're looking to get off of some salary. Maybe JV, you don't have a second to fucking until
2030. Shout out Jake Hardy. I don't know if Jake dropped that graphic. We don't have a second till 2030 because you sent 4 away with Devontae Graham last year.
Yeah, we don't have a second till the rapture. But so you're gonna go ahead and just, I guess you have to trade a first. You probably do JV in the first, and something like that for him because he's a long-term fit. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. He doesn't stretch the floor, but he's pretty good.
That's what I heard. Yeah. Out of those 3, Ross, would you want any of them?
Yeah, I mean, the Wendell Carter thing, Jazz kind of hit it for me. I wouldn't give up much there. A lot of question marks. He's spent a lot of time injured. I think Jarrett Allen can make the team better in the right deal. If it's JV, Dyson, and a first or something, I think I could probably sign up for that. I think if it's like JV, Herb, and a first or more, I'd say to kick rocks there. I just think, I mean, you're seeing it throughout the league right now. I think there are a lot of, like, if you really wanted to explore Herb Jones trades, I think you can get very creative and can get a hell of, like, a player that's going to impact the game a whole hell of a lot more than Jarrett. My problem with Jarrett Allen is that I think you can get a close approximation to him for like multiples cheaper. Like I just, he's a little expensive. And again, if his value has risen to a point where we're talking about, JV, who's a solid center, Herb, who's a potential all defensive player, has turned into a respectable 3-point shooter, and picks, like it's going to be really hard to find an ROI on that deal. Okongwu is an interesting one. I mean, everything I've read says that they're trying to get Capella off the books so that they can play Okongwu more. I mean, if he's on the table, I think there's a little bit of like Bam Adebayo in his game. So yeah, I don't know what the cost for. I think he signed an extension, but it's not very expensive. 14 or 15 million bucks a year. If he's on the table, I think there's some interesting options too. Atlanta sounds like they're all over the place. Like, is it just straight trying to? I mean, the last we saw for their ask for DeJounte Murray was, they want at least 2 first-round picks, and they don't want to take back any long-term salary. I mean, if we're talking about just damn near giving guys away for a couple picks, yeah, sign me up. I like Okongwu, and I like his fit. It's kind of a replacement for JV, but that to me feels unrealistic.
Yeah, go ahead, Lito. Oh, clap! I'll start this one. Go ahead, Lito.
Wait, what was the question? I'm sorry.
You struggling today, huh?
Russ, I said a lot. I forgot what the actual
targeting Murray and Okongwu.
That was my one more thing.
No, you good. I truly believe Murray's going to the Lakers.
It's gonna be sickening.
I truly do, and just like I truly believe Lowry's going to OKC. Like I just believe that, the correct GMs in those situations. What's up, Thomas?
What's up, Thomas?
OKC has a guy. They like they got so much talent that they have stuff to offer. The Lakers are mercenaries. I like a Conwu. I think he was probably maybe the third or fourth best center in that draft. I can't remember who else was in the class, but I thought he was good coming out of college. I think that he said Ross said he had a little bit of Bam in his game. I could see it. I could see it. What is he, six? He's 6'9".
How old is he?
Like 6'10". I
6'10".
don't know. You never know when
Yeah, he's probably 6'9". He's probably 6'9", 6'10". He's 23. Just turned 23. I mean, they took him 6 overall a couple years
He
ago.
got good. He got good
I
lateral
mean,
movement.
motherfucker 28.
You're saying like under your breath, but I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like
you
Buddy
never
Hield's
know.
32 right now.
Oh, what up?
He
What
got
up,
good.
Follw?
What up? He got good. He got good lateral movement. And I mean, the only problem for me is I see him with Trey, and Trey, if I'm not mistaken, is averaging 11 assists. I don't know if he's gonna get that kind of efficiency off the roll from us when he dives, because I don't know who would make that pass or those passes.
I think Brandon.
That's another good point, because with guys like that, like the rim runners, it's like
That's what
we
I thought
don't
about
really have.
Jarrett Allen. That's what I thought
Yeah,
about Jarrett Allen.
yeah, he's not necessarily a dive guy, but even with like a guy like Okongwu, it's like you need somebody who can effectively run the pick and roll, and it's like the greater point I want to get to later. Well, now that you guys spoke about it, it's like, all right, look, because we talking about Jarrett Allen, right? Let's say you get Jarrett Allen for Dyson and JV, right? No picks, no picks, Dyson JV. This offseason, you have 9 players under contract, and you're about $1.8 million away from the luxury tax line. But wait, there's more. You still haven't paid Trey Murphy yet, right? So none of this, it really doesn't matter what you do right now. Ultimately, if there was a situation to where you could go all in now, which I don't know if that deal is out there, and maybe if you believe Murray was your final piece, which I don't think Murray and Brandon would work. Murray, Brandon, CJ, that's way too much going on. Like that's way too much going on, right? Ultimately,
hey, good and damn well it wouldn't be.
That shit would look terrible.
It wouldn't be Murray and VI.
It would not work, right? So that's the whole point about it. And like that's the shitty thing. You have to move one of these luxury dudes, and it gotta be Brandon. Like we keep, it seems like we beating up on dude and pause, but that's not the case. This is all about.
We like Brandon. I mean, like even
economics.
I don't think
economics.
It makes perfect sense. Like it's coming up. Like that's what Chaz keeps trying. Like I know y'all attacking in the comments, but like that's what he's trying to point out is that there's going to be major decisions this offseason because of the tax and how much money is owed. Y'all want to do fan? Oh, go ahead.
We could. I didn't know.
Well, I was about to let the fans just go.
Oh yeah.
Y'all got time for it? Are y'all good?
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna get to y'all's questions. I'll pitch it around the panel. So if y'all have questions for these guys, drop it in the chat and I'll get it. I'll get it up for them. So let's go with Lito. Let's go from X. What's the rundown on Jarrett Allen? I don't know about his game.
It's a good question, X. Because if you would have asked me this question going into the season, I'd have gave you a different answer versus what I've seen since post the Mobley injury. My biggest concern with Jarrett Allen was if you gave him the ball on the block, or if you gave him the ball and you told him to make a play for himself, could he score? I had issues or concerns with that. Man, I've been seeing Jarrett Allen hit like free throw line jumpers. I've been seeing him hit jump hooks. He's been going crazy. Like he's been having some very, very good games. I wasn't necessarily sure if he was a guy that could get points for himself, but like after watching Cleveland, now I'm like, I think he's played himself out of contention for us. I don't think we even have a real shot at it. And like I don't want to trade Herb. I don't think that Dyson is gonna do it for them. Like I just don't see that. And look, X, I'll give you a better example. Like he's had. Let me see. I was trying to go to this stretch of games he had where he was going crazy. He had
like 24 and 20. He's had some monster games.
Yeah, 30, 24,
monster.
30,
He had 4
12.
blocks the other night.
He had a 24. He had a
he's
20 game.
with that.
Yeah, and listen, historically, he's not much of a shot blocker. Historically, he's more of a deterrent. But now he's blocking shots. He's doing a lot of things.
Chaz, what are your thoughts on this comment? Because I really, this is an interesting comment to me from Caleb Williams. If you trade Herb, you lose the locker room. What are your thoughts?
Shout out to Fresh Prince also.
Sorry. I got appreciate you, Fresh Prince. I'll get to that.
I don't necessarily agree with that, just because I don't think the locker room is a real thing. I think if you lose with Herb in or out the locker room, if you losing and Herb's in the locker room, it's not going to be a good situation. Herb was in the locker room to start this season, and it wasn't a good situation. And I know we've heard that it's not the greatest of situations now. I think that's an individual by individual case basis, because everybody in that locker room, for the most part, has different intentions and goals on this season. So Herb I think they're kind of overplaying Herb's influence on the locker room quite a bit. And that could be for a couple of reasons. Like, for example, you heard how much Brandon was the leader of the locker room this past offseason and just for years and years and years. But then Griff got up there on media day and said, well, we don't really have a leader, like talking about it. And now he's saying Herb is the leader. So that can be telling in the number of ways, depending upon how you want to interpret it. But I don't think a guy like Herb changes much from a mentality standpoint. Look, Zion still came into camp out of shape. Herb didn't have much effect on him. Brandon still doesn't really shoot threes. Herb hasn't had much of an effect on him. Willie Green isn't playing Trey, or he just started playing. Well, he's not playing Trey in an advantage situation. Not just started playing Hawkins, so Herb ain't the one like advocating for either one of those guys necessarily. So I think Herb is great. Herb is a master of himself. He's an ultimate professional, and that's what you need. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think his leadership is correctly being stated personally.
So this will be the last comment. Then
I'm piggybacking on that for just a second, because this is because you're part of this group too, Justin. You're part that I'm about to get addressed.
Ooh, all right.
Sick of this shit.
I'm sick of it because the fan base has to acknowledge. We have to acknowledge that if trading Herb Jones is what is ultimately if you believe that it's either Herb, like,
I hate when you twist words. You sound like Chris Connor. You're twisting words here. You're twisting words.
No, generally don't. No, it's not. No, it's.
Okay.
And I agree. I wouldn't do that deal either. But what I'm saying is, if Herb is this valuable league wide, and you can move Herb as part of some other package to get a legitimate player in here that makes your team a legitimate championship contender, not a fake one, not like a playoff of 6 or 7 seed like we are. I'm talking about a legitimate championship contender. I love Herb Jones. They could put up a statue of him, and they could give him the best tribute video of all time, but he's got to pack his shit like anybody else would. If you can get a legitimate upgrade, we've got to stop this whole like love affair with role players. Herb Jones is a very good NBA player, but don't get yourself too attached to him. Like, because if you can upgrade, we got to upgrade. I don't care what people like. If you're winning, the locker room's gonna be just fine.
Winning cures all. Well, I was going to give you this one, but then I'll go to Lito Chung. I know Chaz is going to love this comment. Future of the Pelicans: Zion, Trey, Herb, and Hawk.
Add Matt Ryan. But...
Well, yeah, Matt Ryan, of course. Look pretty good today.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Let's go.
So Herb's the future.
Justin, if you asking me personally, again, I'll trade anybody, bro. Like
I know.
If it's a deal out there that I could get, you know what I'm saying?
Perfectly said, Rob. Perfectly said.
I think Hawk's ceiling is gonna surprise a lot of people when it's probably all said and done.
All right, I'm gonna start getting super chats. So
Chaz,
I don't know. Chaz, Okay, so front office think the money is going to be tight when paying Trey while keeping Herb. What do they think going to happen if they give BI 50 mil? Would he get 50 mil? What, Chaz,
Nah,
first,
it would be in
get
the
50,
40s.
right?
Nah, it would be in the 40s.
And what would the years look like? Would it be 4?
I think he would probably get like 5 years. He's I think under the new CBA, I think he'd be eligible for a longer extension if he waits. So basically, you're talking about paying Brandon until he like 35 years old, right? And he played like an old man now. So I don't know. I'll say this: there's almost no, like, I saw somebody say trade CJ. That doesn't make financial sense. CJ is under a cost controlled, slightly declining contract. And under the new CBA, that contract is incredible. For Trey, he has to sign his contract under this current CBA. Once he signs it under the new CBA, it's going to look super crazy. Brandon Zion, cost controlled contract for the next 4 years. Brandon is the person that's like sticking out like a sore thumb.
Chaz, can you explain cost control? Can you explain what do you mean by that?
And there isn't going to be an insane jump in salary, and there isn't like a fickle situation to where like, okay, this motherfucker can opt out, or it isn't going to be necessarily a situation like that. So it would, if you look at the situation with Brandon, it's like there probably aren't many teams across the league that would even give Brandon that contract right now as a free agent. And truthfully, if Brandon was a free agent for the Pelicans, you probably don't even go after a guy like that because his numbers are eerily similar to Jeremy Grant, who's shooting better from three. DeJounte Murray has shot over 50 more threes made over 50 more threes than Brandon. He's coming off a recent All-Star bid. Brandon is a fringe All-Star. Fringe. So basically, you're signing a role player to a 5-year, $40 million contract, and you only have 9 players on your roster. So how are you going to fill out the rest of the roster? Like it does. Well, 10.
A lot of people would say trade CJ or trade Trey or trade.
And even then, let's say you trade CJ. Cool. You still got to pay Trey. So you're hoping that you're underpaying Trey, right, to make up for Brandon's increase by the time that money kicks in. Let's say you don't pay Trey 30. Let's say you pay him. This will never happen. But let's say you pay him 20, right? Let's say you pay him 20. If Brandon's starting at like 42, 45, something like that, you're going to be fucked. Like, because both of those extensions kick in at the same time. Now, it just wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. There is a scenario where CJ wants to go play somewhere else so he can chase a championship. That's a real scenario. But for this team, we want Gail to pay the tax, but you don't got no all-stars. You don't got nobody that's necessarily worthy of you paying the tax. So why would I do that now? You're tied with 18 losses with about 6 teams. That don't make why would I do that?
It's fair comment. Thanks for breaking that down, Chaz. I'm gonna get some more super chats. Down, always appreciate you, man. Let's go with Ross. What does the front office see in BI that a lot of us don't?
I guess it's a situation where it's just the devil versus the unknown, right? Of he's here. Is he an all-star? No. Is he like gonna lead you to a championship? No. But is he like good enough to keep you like, hovering around 500? Sure. I think we've seen what the ceiling is with a Brandon-led team, right? If everything's going real good, I think it's probably like a play-in team. I'm saying with Brandon as your best player. The problem is when you look around the league at teams and say, like step back from being a Pelicans fan, right? Because people get attached to their own players and all this other stuff. Like if you go look at every other team and you say, how many of those teams would Brandon be their best or second best player? It's like an astronaut. It's a very small amount of teams. Like it just is, right? Like go do the exercise for yourself and see what you think. But I've done it. And it's a really, really small amount of teams. So now you're talking about paying potentially, if this is going to be a championship team, right? You're talking about potentially paying your third best player ish. A salary that would be commensurate with somebody that should be leading you to a championship as a star. I don't know. I think this team. Well, look, they haven't given Brandon an extension, so maybe this is all a little bit speculative.
Right.
Maybe they see the same thing we see, and they're just sort of biding their time and seeing what happens. I mean, I think there was a lot of. We heard a lot of stuff about that they were going to play this year out. They were going to give this thing a chance, see if everybody stayed healthy, see what that looked like. Maybe that's what's happening here, and I'll give the team the benefit of the doubt on that. I'm at a point where I don't think that's a good idea anymore, but maybe that's what they're doing, and they'll address the Brandon situation this offseason. But I don't know. I think it's just I truly just think it's kind of the devil we know. He's here. He's played well in spurts, and
okay. We'll get some more super chats. So Joe, once again, appreciate that. But Joe, I'm about to get to your other comment, which I think is quite interesting. I don't know if you're being facetious or not, but I'm going to answer it. This is also kind of just like appreciate your super chat, Fresh Prince. But Joe, I'm interested in this. I don't know if you're being facetious or not, but I'm going to act like you're being real here. So Jose Dyson, Najee, Herman, Larry, championship team. What do y'all mean? We don't need offense as long as we stop the other team from scoring. Y'all are crazy. I'm with Willie on this one. And in high school, yes, that is correct. If you can stop the other team from scoring, because there's not much talent there in high school. In college, maybe sure. In the NBA, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's nobody in the world that can stop Jokic. There's nobody in the world that can stop Embiid. There's nobody in the world that can stop Kevin Durant or Devin Booker or whoever you want to say. All these stars you talk about, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, you go down the list, nobody in this world can stop them. Okay,
don't even have to be a star. I've seen Drew Holiday get his. Jimmy Butler took him.
Shout out to Corey Brewer. Corey Brewer dropped 50 points in one night. Like these guys are elite.
Just to be fair, Joe was definitely joking when he sent it. Like I remember when he sent this. Yeah,
okay, Joe, I'm sorry, but I'm glad you're joking. But I just want to make sure that like the whole defense offensive thing, nobody like people like are always talking about. Well, who's Zion going to guard? Who's going to guard Jokic? Nobody can guard Jokic. Nobody guard these people.
The league isn't even built on defense anymore. It's never been
all offense.
Man,
like
it's never been easier to score in the NBA. Never.
Ooh, Lito, this is a good one. Chaz talked about this. Shout out to you. Appreciate the super chat. What are your thoughts on this? And why? Because it used to be flip flopped, right? Am I wrong about that? Zion used to be introduced.
I don't even remember.
I think at one point, but I don't remember like what happened. Yo, you know the problem with the Pelicans. Somehow along the lines, we got told that everybody was, or they got told that everybody was equal.
Yeah,
and that's not true, and that's the part of the problem. So when people ask questions about hierarchy, or who should be taking what shots, I think it starts at the top. And then it bleeds on into Willie Green, who, for whatever reason, not particularly putting this all on him, because if Brandon and or Zion were to take the reins of the situation and be like, hey, look, we're not doing that shit. Like we gonna do it like this, instead of the passive aggressive approach that we've seen sometimes from them. To answer the question though, that is a part of the problem, because if I've never seen a team where your best player doesn't get named last in the intro.
Who is our best player? That's a debate.
Is it really?
To us though, not to me. I know the best player. Like,
go ahead, Leo. My bad, Leo.
Nah, I was gonna ask Justin if he was trolling like the young kids do.
Yeah.
I just got called old, but that's fucked up. At least not beans, but I mean, shit. Oh, I gotta show that. Shout out to Lito. We got a new picture here, Ross.
Oh man,
that's tough.
That's disrespectful, Ross. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I wonder if somebody's in the chat. I don't know who called you beans first.
I don't either. I don't remember. But
all right, let's get to another. Appreciate all the super chats. So I'm gonna get the super chats. I got a lot of stuff started, so appreciate it. Make sure y'all smash that like button. I haven't said it enough tonight. Make sure you smash that like button. Chaz from Jeremiah. 3-team trade. Be out of the Nets. Cade Cunningham and Kel Bridges to Pelicans. Ooh, Hawkins and Nick Claxton to Detroit. Pelicans up for the team looks a lot like Denver.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I love that trade, but I just don't think Brandon is that highly valued. Mikal is on a much better contract.
Not much better. He's on the best contract in the league.
Yeah, he's always healthy. Shout out to
Him
you,
and
Jarrett.
Larry.
And look, for the Pelicans, I would do that in a second. Like, I'm doing that. And hey, they can and truthfully, they can probably take they might can take her with them. Like, to be real. But like Brandon's contract situation, and guys, like, he's having a very, very underwhelming season. Like, for a person for making the money, I mean, for the expectation is of such a bad season. And this is while healthy. So I can't see the Nets doing that with Mikal being so reliable. And Mikal's a guy who's randomly given multiple 40-point games. And shit, you would get to the point where you're not arguing, but you would have a question as to, is Brandon a better head and shoulders better scorer and player than Cam Thomas? Like, it would get to that point if you're the Nets. So I love the trade, but I just can't see nobody doing it.
I appreciate the super chat, but it's wild to think, like, and this is, it goes back to this whole brand, like we think even Pelicans fans, I think even us sometimes, but but definitely others, like, we have no clue what Brandon's value. Like, the average person has no clue what Brandon's value is externally. Like, they have no clue. The fact that somebody thinks we could trade Brandon and Hawkins for Cade Cunningham and Michael Bridges is so asinine. Like, if you told like a Grizzlies fan this deal, they would just laugh. Like, in any other team, they would just be like, "Wait, who? Brandon Ingram and Jordan Hawkins for Cade Cunningham?" It's just. Not to mention Detroit just used a high pick on Duran, and they don't want any part of Nick Claxton. They got like 400 centers as is, but just go.
But you know what's crazy? There's people who would say, like, you listen to Brian Windhurst, he'll say the real crown jewel of that trade is Jordan Hawkins. You get a guy like that on a rookie contract, several 30-point games.
Hey, there's
it would be like. For the Pelicans, they'd be like, Brandon is a large expiring contract.
Yeah, Chaz, honestly, what do you think is more valuable right now? If we put two things on the table.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to trade Jordan Hawkins or we're going to trade Brandon Ingram. Contract matters. What do you think you get more for?
It got to be like, most teams would look at Brandon like Gordon Hayward, like a better version, like a large expiring contract, and look at Jordan Hawkins like the crown jewel of that trade. This is real.
And we're not saying Hawkins is better than Brandon Ingram today.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's not what we're saying. I'm talking about
too late. That's gonna be
external. I'm talking about external. Like, if those were the two things that you said, hey, we're going to trade both of these things.
Chandler Parsons. No,
it's just reality. It's just reality. Like, we value like average Pelicans fans think Brandon Ingram. Pascal Siakam, just a guy who's made multiple All-NBA teams, just got traded for Bruce Brown for like a champion, some 2 bags of Doritos and a Snickers. Like, he just got traded for nothing. Just keep that in the back of your mind when you think about Brandon Ingram, like, value. Just keep that in the back of your mind.
We got. I'm gonna get to the next one.
Go ahead,
what you got? Yeah, I'm gonna try to because I got a lot of shit to get through. So at the event he made, so Rick had dropped a comment about, I'm assuming y'all's Griff shit talking the online guys lineups today, because when he said I literally LOL'd. And he said at the event he made reference to how hard Willie's job was, that social media lineups were dismissive. So let me address the first part. I think, listen, I think Willie Green's job is very hard. I think coaching is one of the hardest things you can possibly do. Like, if you I'm literally a coach, it is very, very hard. You have to control so many different things, not to mention just game day in general, game planning, so on and so forth, handling different emotions and attitudes and players, and it's hard. It's not hard to understand that Jordan Hawkins should be playing. Like, listen, that's just not hard. Like, that to me is very, very easy. There's analytics on that. So, like, I get it. His job is very hard, and he's a young guy that's trying to learn and learn his way in the NBA. And look, I don't think Zion's made it very easy on him either. Like these 5 years have not been very smooth. Or, I'm sorry, the first 3 years of Willie Green have not been very smooth. You're gonna push back a little, Chaz?
Well, I'm just gonna say this. First of all, Willie Green shouldn't even be here. If the other motherfucker, the other non-all-star guy, doesn't get Stan Van Gundy fired. Not that I think Stan Van Gundy is this incredible coach, but when people keep talking like Brandon, he's a quiet guy. He doesn't have all the off court. He got a coach fired. What are you talking about? That's the worst thing a player can do on a team.
Chaz, I think that was such a weird time, man.
But
like, I'm not saying that was a weird time.
But I'm saying that's even more reason to give Stan Van Gundy some grace. Because this motherfucker, he can't really practice. There's no fans in the arena. There's all type of weird shit. They sleeping in hotels and getting tested every morning, all kind of weird shit. And you fired this man with all these years left on the contract. Willie Green inherited a team with no expectations because Zion was hurt, right? Zion comes back. He's mismanaged timeouts in the game situations. He's carried challenges. He's lost his third timeouts going into final 2 minutes of game several times. He's gotten several fucking 5-second calls on the side with timeouts. He's blown several double-digit leads at the end of games. He's consistently played terrible players in non-shooting lineups.
Can I ask you something about SVG? And Chaz, because you talk about Brandon, and I agree with you because I thought Brandon quit like 3 or 4 weeks into the season that year. But what showed me, I think what was the end for me was in New York when Lonzo bit on the drive. We gave
Eric
up.
Bledsoe didn't foul. Yeah,
Eric Bledsoe didn't foul. Like there was just a moment where like and then Eric Bledsoe on the post game was like, "Yeah, I wasn't listening." It's like, what do you want? What do you?
But think about this. Eric Bledsoe was out of the league the next year.
No. I agree. But if the players on the roster are not listening to him, they're not like. What do you want? What do you want Griff to do?
I'm definitely not calling Brandon, Josh Hart, none of these people losers, even Eric Bledsoe. But you don't listen to no fucking loser. You don't let no loser. If you didn't listen to the coach, you're a loser. You're the fucking problem because you should have wanted to win this game in spite of the coach. You supposed to, because this motherfucker, this your career. In the next year, you was out the league. You played for the Shanghai Sharks, and you got caught stealing sunglasses or some weird shit allegedly. Like you were out the league. He doing weird scams in China now, motherfucker. That's some loser shit. Josh Hart, you was off the team. The next, like, get him out of here.
Josh Hart said something like Josh Hart was ready to be.
Yeah, but all these
he's trying to get traded mid game.
Yeah, these dudes ain't no needle movers.
But Chaz, that was I know, but like it's still a reflection on
the person who mattered responded. Zion responded. The one who mattered. These dudes, Brandon, great player on a max contract. He matters because he's on a max contract. In the grand scheme of things, he doesn't matter. Because if you don't get the best version of Zion, you're not going nowhere. And the one who mattered bought in. That's what it's really all about. The guy who mattered played the most games he's ever played. Motherfucker looked like Blade.
NBA, all NBA level.
Yeah, all NBA tier guy. And okay, but here's the thing. Let's say you did it for Brandon. Let's say you appeased Brandon. Brandon, you've had 3-4 opportunities to take over the reins and ascend and match Zion's level understanding. Again, you haven't done that yet. You haven't been an all-star. You always fucking hurt. And you still ain't shooting threes, something Willie Green's asking you to do. You're doing more damage to Willie Green than Zion's ever done. Because you're the one they going to bat for you. Willie Green is your hire, Brandon. This is your guy. That's the ridiculous. That's the seriousness of it.
That's fair. Lito from Jonathan, JV's better than all of them. And when he says all of them, Jarrett Allen. I can't pronounce the Hawks guy and Wendell Carter.
Just say okay. Just say okay.
Okay. Thank you, Chad. I was thinking on your toes, bro. What are your thoughts on that?
That's kind of crazy, Justin.
Why? Why was that crazy? No, I want to break that down. That is not crazy at all. I didn't say on my knees. I didn't say any of that shit.
Why did not say that?
Because I want to clear that up, bro. Like that's crazy. Like you're a bully. Go ahead. You're a bully.
Yeah. Yo, wow. Go ahead.
Oh, I feel like I think JV might be a better fit than all of those guys for sure. Pause. I think he probably is I said it, Justin. I said it.
You said it after, right? That doesn't count, right? Sorry, I'm trying. Let's be. Go ahead.
I think he might. He gels with this team better than the rest of those guys. But the issue is, Chung, that's crazy. But the issue is he is 32, I think.
Yeah, I believe so, right?
He's 32. He's played 12 seasons of FIBA basketball along with his, you know what I'm saying? And he's an expiring contract. So I think when you hear the JV narrative, it's not necessarily about JV's skill. It's just at this point, does JV's timeline line up with the timeline of the team? Is he gonna be around? Like, for instance, if you resign him, is he gonna be your center? He's got to be your center for the next 3 or 4 years. Is that what you say at that point? And then he's what, 34, 35, and you're paying him, I don't know, whatever the number is. I think that that's the part of it you gotta kind of look at. Like, for me, I'm the lead of his defense team. I definitely don't want to get rid of him, but I do understand that the writing is on the wall, and it feels inevitable because, again, age, contract, and again, fit with team, because you see Willie or Griff, who the players that they've been.
I can read.
We gotta get him a thesaurus. He needs a thesaurus.
I need a thesaurus for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, birthday's coming up. Why don't you give me a thesaurus?
I got you.
So no dive in.
That'd be perfect. I'm trying to just better myself. I need a thesaurus. Go ahead.
I got you. And Nelly Smith, you're right. This is all Jackson's fault. But you know whose fault it is? Is the people that drafted Jackson.
Yeah, really.
Because it technically isn't Jackson's fault. Because Jackson didn't tell us pick him with the 8th pick. He didn't do that.
Nope.
Let's go a couple more. But we'll go about 10 more minutes. Ross, this is, I don't know if this is true or not, so I want to bring this up. The starting five is a negative rating, but the team is a positive rating.
Yes.
Make it make sense.
The starting lineup isn't very good working together. I've only had a few glimpses this year where they've played what I consider to be really cohesive basketball. And once we get into the bench, we start getting into some players that we're all arguing about that should be starting anyway. So it helps level out the lineup and get a more 21st century NBA lineup out there with more spacing. It really, like, what's crazy is this is a situation where the stats really make sense. All of the things that most people are saying, it makes perfect sense, right? Like, you get a lot of mid-range jumpers off the court. You get a big guy that kind of is clogging the paint off the court at times. You replace them with other players that do different things, and we get better. Like, that's really the story that's being told there. Which I can continue.
Oh, do you want to keep going?
No, I'm good. I just didn't. I mean, I don't know how I can spell that out for you.
Okay, thank you. Clap's saying some crazy shit in the chat, but Clap, I'll pull this one up.
Man,
what about
what's that, bro?
He's
hold
out
on.
of control. No, I'm not even bring it up.
I'm not even going to
Chaz is going to go off the stream. Okay, just don't even bring it up. Just don't even bring it up. What about Claxton?
I like Claxton, but Claxton, he wants a big contract moving forward, and it doesn't. Again, when you sign these guys that you have to ultimately pay, especially when those extensions start hitting at the same time, it would, for the Pelicans to do something this year, it would almost have to be and again, almost got to be an all-in move, because I think Claxton's making like what, $5-6 million or something. And he's more, again, Claxton, he can be a starting five, but when you start talking about the Claxtons and guys like that, you're looking at guys who are Larry upgrades, like guys who are like maybe co-starters at best right now to get where you're ultimately trying to go. Maybe he takes over the reins in the future, but that's not someone you replace JV with at this juncture, I don't think. I like Claxton a lot. I like Claxton a lot.
Chaz. There was a comment in here, Ross one. Lito, there's a comment in here. I can't find it now. But it's, I don't know who said it. And if you said this, bring it back up. But it's something about Jordan Hawkins maybe starting in the future. What is your kind of outlook for Jordan Hawkins over the next couple of years from what you've seen for the first couple months of Jordan Hawkins? Like, do you think he's the starter for this team
in the
like
next couple of years?
Mm-hmm.
You asking me? Absolutely.
Do you think he's a CJ McCollum replacement?
CJ is 31.
Let me look.
I believe. Yeah. I believe he's 31.
No,
CJ's 32 right now.
Yeah, 32.
Yeah, he's got 35 mil this year, 33 next year, and in 2025, 30. So as Chaz said, declining.
Man,
which is that's
man. If y'all, man,
hold
on. Go ahead.
Nah, yeah, I definitely think that he's I think he's a starter within the next couple years. I think in the next couple years, a lot of things might look different.
Chaz, there's the money. There's the money comment.
Yeah, man. I mean,
shit. I'm sorry, Lito. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chaz. No, go ahead.
Nah, I'm just like, I mean, ultimately, look, you're paying Trey Murphy. You're either paying him or you're trading him, and you might as well trade him now if you're gonna trade him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because this offseason, you have to pay him. So you might as well trade him to someone who's going to pay him. You know what I'm saying? It's really the long and short of it, Paul. It's like, you got to trade son. You either going to trade him or you trading Brandon. Because trading CJ don't make no sense because you're saving a ton of money with CJ. And CJ's arguably had a better season than Brandon so far this season. I mean, he dealt with the injury and shit. That kind of threw him off course, but he's arguably had a better season than him. Adjusted his game. Griff pointed that out specifically. And it's funny that Griff said he pointed out the Brandon thing with the threes. And then today he's saying Herb is the alpha. I don't really know what Griff trying to say publicly. Griff said
Herb's the alpha?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. He was like, Herb is the alpha of the team. So I'm like, I don't really know what he's doing with that publicly. But it's like, ultimately, bro, it's coming down to Trey or Brandon. In the future, you go with the younger, cheaper guy and, the higher ceiling talent. You've already seen the best version of Brandon. You've already seen it. So it's like, what you do with that.
So, Ross, you got anything? Good?
About what topic exactly?
Nothing. I was ready to sign off. I was about to just sign off.
Wait.
Okay. I figured Lito had something.
You just go duck this? You go duck this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, that's so annoying, dude. I'm watching it this week. I've been lying. I gotta watch it. Fucking watch it. It's been. Someone's got to go to practice. Fuck. I've been going out of practice.
We'll do another show on the salary cap because everyone thinks
y'all two need to do a show.
Yeah,
I think
it's not as clean as just like letting BI walk or whatever and giving Trey $26 million or whatever. Like that doesn't solve your problem. But
hey, yo, Lito, we play Tuesday. Lito, I'm watching it Wednesday. Okay, I promise you. 504 boy. Everybody, I'm gonna watch Friday on Wednesday.
Okay,
I'm gonna watch it. Okay,
right, sure.
Other than that, appreciate everything tonight. Appreciate all the super chats. Appreciate all the comments. Make sure you smash that like button. And I got to shout out a couple. Lito, I got to shout out your guy. There's a giveaway going on now on Pelicans Report and Boo Crew Media. Lito, you want to talk on that just a little bit?
Yeah, man. Shout out to my dog Gabe, man. Gabe, I wore a shirt a while ago, and Justin shouted it out, and I added Gabe, but I think I don't know if he was on Twitter at the time, but he back on Twitter. Hold up, I'll tell y'all his Twitter right now, so y'all could.
David, y'all can email me at Justin at Boo Crew Media, or y'all can just DM me on Propels Talk. So all y'all regulars, give me y'all size shirt. Also, Chaz, Ross, and Lito, he asked for all of our sizes for the giveaway shirt. So make sure y'all.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So his name on Twitter is who is WH. I'll spell it. I put it in the chat. Give me 1 second. Because I don't want to fuck this up.
Appreciate you, X. Thank you.
Yeah, X, appreciate everything, man.
Appreciate all y'all for watching us, man. Sunday night. I know some of y'all was going hard pause for the Bills.
Yeah.
I know some of y'all was big Bills fans.
Bills, man.
But he got a fire shirt coming up that he want to give away.
Yeah, so look, it's on Boo Crew Media's Instagram, Pelicans Report Instagram, Propels Talk Instagram. It's like the latest It's the latest post. He's releasing this shirt on Friday. It's a badass shirt. Make sure you go check it out. It's got the color, like the city edition colors, whatever it is, like neon green, black, and everything. So make sure you check that out. And then, all right, Lito.
Oh, it's on me?
Yeah.
All right, bet, man. So look, check this out, man. First of all, first and foremost, let us bow our heads, pause, and let's pray for Brother Jermaine, as for whatever reason, our brother believed in the Buffalo Bills, and you know, we just want to give him the sincerest blessing we can. We'll put the blood of Jesus on him, that he no longer makes these bad decisions. With that being said, I want to stop cursing with God in the room, because I want to start cursing, excuse me. So I want to stop talking to God. Josh Allen is a bum. Stephon Diggs is a bum. He's super sassy. I can't wait to see his post game presser. I hope you cry in the car, Diggs. I have no love for you. You still a Minnesota Viking to me. You get no plan to ride. Pat Mahomes is the greatest talent at quarterback I have ever seen, and I've been calling him my GOAT for the past 2 years. Let Pat get 2 to 3 more Super Bowl rings. Y'all go hear about it from me. And with that being said, my New Orleans Saints missed him by a pick, right? By a pick.
Yeah.
Just like how the New Orleans Pelicans missed a certain player by a pick too. But Tyrese Halliburton.
Well, yeah. New Orleans Pelicans missed a lot of players by anyways. But you know what? That's how I know life isn't fair. Check this out. Defense, compassion, intensity, love, entanglements. Check this out. We going back to Derek Carr next year. So that's all I have to tell you. Good night. Elbow.
Later.